I think we can do better, I really do. Around about 31 degrees actually. That's quite reasonable. Tuesday, February the 12th, and believe me, am I very excited. Yes, coming out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, by the way, is Gary Alexander, right up to these messages.
Hey, this is Ben Click, and you're listening to my buddy, Grant Reed.
So what we'll do is we'll go through these ads, and then we'll play the first one, which is Burn That Bridge, and then we'll go live to you. So we've got about 3.5 minutes to go. So,
all right.
Do you need any water or maybe a mason jar?
No.
We're Facebook Live.
I'm solid over
Hey,
on this
everyone.
end. Is the audio all right for you?
Yeah, no, it's perfect. Absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
Here's the legendary DJ Grant and Gary Alexander for our Facebook people. Hi, everyone.
Absolutely brilliant, and nice to have everybody on board this morning. And we're talking to Gary Alexander, coming out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Really, really looking forward to this interview. I really am.
His song's playing at the moment.
Yes, Burn That Bridge. This is actually your second most requested song that we've played.
Oh, that's so awesome.
And
I love those songs.
I really got to thank you for getting in touch with us, because we absolutely love your music here, we really do. And believe me, the staff here,
That's really cool.
they huddle around the stereos and the
Hi, Sarah.
all the
Hi,
computers
Grace.
and everything while we're doing these things to basically
George.
hold me
Hi,
to account,
Billy.
but at the
Hi,
same time they
mrytle.
love to know what's happening in the interviews and stuff like that too, you know what I mean? So they were excited about this
Right.
one this morning. Who have we got online?
Oh, we've got Mike Gill, Billy Frew, Jared Kelshoven, Sarah Noel Pearson, Grace Miles. Yeah, quite a few people.
Quite a few, and it is always a pleasure to have Mike Gill on board. Nice to hear from you, brother man. It really is.
So our interview today is Gary Alexander from Myrtle Beach.
Yes. So what we're going to do is go live to it is.
Awesome, live to air now. www.galaxy107fm.co.nz. If you want to join us on radio, you'll be able to hear the music then.
That's right, you're right, here at Galaxy 107 FM. It is 9 after 11 o'clock, 26 degrees. We're only 1 degree off our high. 27 degrees today. I think we're going to get a lot higher. It is Tuesday, February the 12th, and well, I'm absolutely elated to be going to Myrtle Beach, in South Carolina, joining Gary Alexander. Good morning, good afternoon over there.
Yeah, good afternoon. Well, good morning to you.
It is an absolute pleasure to meet you, my friend, and believe me, we're getting a huge response. I've been told for Burn That Bridge, just under 4,000 requests for that. It is 3,990 something requests, 98 requests for that particular track since we've been playing it, and we do have you in a number of shows. I even play you on the breakfast show, this morning being the feature artist, by the way, I got to admit that, and at the same time, we have you in the country show on a Sunday, 16 hours of country, and on Monday night, we have you in the Galaxy Artist as well, knowing that you were going to be doing this interview. So we had to put you in there as well. So we are absolutely hammering Gary Alexander. Now, Gary, I've got to ask you, let's go back in time when you very first started playing two strings. Do you still only just play two strings on your guitar?
No, you know what? I've added 4 more now. I have 6, up to 6.
I was kind of wondering because the quality of your work is absolutely superb. You must have added at least a couple more since the information I've got. But I take it that your father was a big influence in your music.
He was. You know, I grew up in a very small town in South Carolina on the East Coast and of the United States, and my dad was small town famous. You know. He had a top 20 hit in a few states on Billboard, the Billboard charts, and he was on all the jukeboxes everywhere I'd go as a kid. I'd go into pool halls or places like that where people would hang out a little bit, and on the jukeboxes back then, and he was on all of them. So people would play his music, and they loved it. At that early age, I didn't really think too much of it. It was more country than what I was interested in, but now, especially being a grown man, I'm just so honored about and just a privilege to have been around such an entertaining fellow.
You know, I would get that. It would be a little weird, though, I got to be honest, hanging out at the local bar or going down for a game of pool or something like that and hearing the dad on the jukebox. That would be like Miley Cyrus having Billy Ray playing, everywhere and just haunting the poor lady. So I kind of feel that would be freaky. But as a fan, I could understand that immensely. I really, really could. And you must, looking back, think, that was quite cool back in the day, really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know what's really strange now is my daughter, I have a daughter that's 13 years old. She's a teenager. And her social studies teacher, I don't know what you guys call it over there, but for us we call it social studies. There's a class, and her social studies teacher was once a drummer for me. And it was fun. So the funny story was whenever she started his class, his name is Freddie, but they call him, obviously by his last name, Mr. Ackerman. And Mr. Ackerman told the entire class, "Oh, Kennedy's dad is so cool. He plays,
I tell you what, bonus for her, she might get better grades.
Are you there?
Yeah. No, we're still here. Can you hear us?
Oh, excellent. I got you now.
Nice.
Yeah, so basically, he was just telling her how cool I was, and he played a bunch of my songs in class. It was really cool for her, but I think she was a little more like over it. She wasn't really into it either, but maybe one day she'll think it's cool.
I would have said, does this give me brownie points so I get easier grades?
Right.
Jump all over that one for sure, absolutely. But I got to say to you, and literally the fans want to know, how do we get hold of you? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Twitter? Are you on Instagram? And do you respond?
Absolutely, I respond. I love Instagram the most, and my handle is @I'm Gary Alexander. So I am Gary Alexander. I'm Gary Alexander. And Instagram, but I'm currently building my Facebook page up to where that it should be. So please, everyone listening now, go find me on Facebook and you can follow me there. I love to respond and talk to people and find out where they're from, what songs they like, how they listen to my music. It's all very interesting to me.
Absolutely. And at the same time, do you have a website? And on your website, can we not only buy your music, but do you have a merch store?
I do not have that at the moment. Where I'm at and how things are done in this area of the United States, really for me at this point, it hasn't. It's been more beneficial to be on social than to continue to push a website. To be quite honest with you, social I get personally so much more out of the social media side of things than I would from a home page. On a website. What I do, however, see that is productive is Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon Music, and pretty much every digital retailer that I can think of. I think is carrying the music. If it's not, please, you guys reach out to me and let me know, because I'd love to get it wherever you're listening to your music.
Nice, absolutely brilliant. And believe me, we started the show this morning with Burn That Bridge. Now, this is your second most requested song. We thought we'd kick it off with a bit of impact, and we absolutely love this track. Tell me a little bit about it. Where did you come up with the lyrics of that?
Burn That Bridge was written by a guy named Charles English, and to be fair, I told him this as well. I said, Charles, it's like you wrote this song about my life, and it's just how I felt whenever I left and left South Carolina and moved out west, and to Las Vegas. I lived in Las Vegas for a long time, and those LA lights were the Los Angeles idea was just so, a beacon. It's just such a bright thing for me, and I really wanted to be closer to that. So I would have written a song. This was about my life, but Charles said, "No, man, this was about us wanting to leave California or wanting to leave, California and go to Nashville." And he said, "When we got towards Nashville, we're gonna burn that bridge." And I was like, I completely get it. It's an amazing song. It really is. It really is the most autobiographical thing that could have been written about my life that wasn't written about my life.
Well, something, you're getting a huge response here at Galaxy107 FM. As I said, about almost 4,000 requests for it at this time, and believe me, it gets to a point where my receptionist is starting to refuse to write down anything about Gary Alexander. She's putting it down on a USB and handing it to me that way, if you know what I mean. She says, "Great, you sort it out." And this is happening on a daily basis, I got to be honest with you. People are responding to your music. Now we got Get Over You, and believe me, let me know about this, because I'm very, very interested in this one. I've got to be honest with you, I'm an engineer myself. I have been an engineer now for about 30-something years, almost 40 years, doing not only studio stuff, but doing live stuff around the world with some of the best bands in the world as well. And I listen to music not as a fan would listen to it, not as a DJ would listen to it, but more as an engineer, and I can't fault your work. So where did you get this particular track produced? Who was your producer? Where did you get it recorded? And tell me a bit about the lyrics.
All right. So this song was recorded in Nashville, Tennessee. I recorded the vocals in South Carolina here, but the track was produced by a gentleman named Mike Rogers. Mike Rogers is the band leader currently for a country artist named Craig Morgan. And Mike and I go back to where we were. I think I was 16 years old when we first met. Mike was probably 17 or 18. And he ended up in Nashville doing a lot of really amazing things, and we kept in touch. And I brought him this song and was like, "Listen, I have a great song that I want to get out there." He produced the track. I thought it was amazing. And there's a really great story about this track that I think your listeners would like. I played this song for Darius Rucker on a tour bus one night, and Darius stopped me at the end of the track and he says, "Hey, listen, I don't believe in coincidences. You were supposed to be here. I was supposed to be here. How would you feel about coming to Charleston and rewriting this song with me and me recording it?" And it was like the heavens just kind of did one of those moments, you know. And so the version that you hear is my version, and hopefully the version that I hope he records is a little different, but for the most part is identical to mine. But goodness, when he sings it, man, it sounds like it's magic.
You know, believe me, that is a huge artist, Darius Rucker, it really is. We have him up around like the Keith Urbans here in New Zealand. He's just absolutely huge here in New Zealand. We really, and of course you can relate to who Keith Urban is, because he's huge everywhere else but New Zealand. He never comes home anymore, that's the problem. He's moved to Australia, got married over there. Now he's touring around America and the United States, the United States and Canada and places like that. We never get to see him anymore. So believe me, when you get to that level, and I know that you're going to get to that level in no time, believe me, I think there's a Josie Award or something coming your way very, very shortly, because believe me, everybody watches, they do. And there's been some very, very interesting people, especially some people out of British Columbia, that have been talking about your music, because we play everywhere, and of course we know people in the BCCMAs and also into, of course the Grammys was only held yesterday, wasn't it? We know a few selectors there, and we talk to people all the time in these positions about the artists that we do the interviews with, and they follow up, they have a look. Before you know it, I know that you're going to have trophies right up behind you on that shelf up there by that screen, all over the place, and I think this is a good start for you, to be very honest with you. I got to admit too, by the way, loving what's behind you right now, all the guitars, all your axes, your microphones and everything like that. A working room, love working rooms, I really, really do. For me, that's a man cave.
Oh, well, this is where I demo all of my songs. I do more songwriter demos. I don't really do anything here that is releasable quality. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But this is good enough for me to get my demos across, send it to Nashville, or take it with me to Nashville. And Get Over You was rewritten in Charleston, but demoed on all this equipment.
You know, I absolutely love it. I think you're a lucky man, to be quite honest. My wife won't let me have that. She goes, listen, you've got a radio station, that's enough. You're not having any studios at home either. So I come to work to play, to be very honest with you. So, without further ado, right here at Galaxy 107 FM, here is Gary Alexander and Get Over You. Gosh, it's hot up here, Barbara.
It is hot.
It really is hot. We've got the windows open as well. How are you feeling there, Gary?
Oh, I'm feeling great. I'm hoping that you can hear me. I don't know what happened to our connection, but hopefully it didn't last long.
No, we're all good, my friend. We are. And love the idea of the $12 guitar too, by the way.
Oh, man. You know, that was crazy. I bought that from my best friend, and there's the story that what happened to it was my friend, another friend of ours, he kind of just was a guy that lived next door to our rehearsal room. One day they just I wasn't there, and they dared him to destroy it, basically, you know, do like a Pete Townsend thing on it. And I was like 15 years old, you know, like 14, 15, and I wasn't around, and he smashed it to bits.
Oh.
And he and I, up until he was actually a big guy in Nashville at Universal Nashville, and up until recently when he passed away, he was my age. Up until when he passed away, we would always laugh about that. I was like, oh man, that was one of the craziest things that ever happened to me. And he says, well, it was one of the craziest things I've ever done.
That's very WWF.
Oh, yeah.
Or WWE, whatever they are today, I think. Yeah.
He was an amazing person, though. I owe him a lot. He sent me a lot of really cool music from Nashville, advanced copy stuff. He's such a good guy.
Nice.
I love what you guys are doing, by the way. I love it.
Nice, thank you. I've done it once or twice now. I hope you're comfortable.
I see. I think you're going to be all right.
Good. Hold my hand if I get you. Well, you're a big tough man, so
He might even bring out the guitar and give us a little tune like other people.
Who we got online at the moment, Barbara?
Oh, a few people here.
A few people here.
Oh, it's not scrolling up. But
Not scrolling.
I know Grace Miles is watching.
Grace Miles. Yes.
And Cheryl was here.
All the way the night is gonna steal. Lady that shows on her dress with the moonlight shining through. All I know is she made me get on you. Within the curves of her body, rest me so strong. Making those 3 whiskey drinks strong and tall. Was it the long kiss goodbye when the night was through? All I know is she made me get over you. All I know is she made me get over you. Get over
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, 25 after 11 o'clock, 26 degrees. We're only 1 degree off our high of 27. That's Celsius, not Fahrenheit, by the way, for you folks over the other side of the world. Tuesday, February the 12th, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM and joined by Gary Alexandra. Sorry about that, getting tongue-tied right now. I got a compliment from Gary earlier on. You see, it's just gone straight to my head. And at the same time, Gary, you got to forgive me if I make some strange, funny sort of suggestions or anything like that. It's just Barbara trying to put me off. We have this game where she tries to make me laugh and all that sort of stuff. She pulls faces, all sorts of things, so that to see just how professional I am. Now, Gary, better too. Thank you for turning that light on. Much better. I can actually see your eyes now. At the same time, I'm going to hide mine. Tell me about the Gatlin brothers. Yeah, we were talking about Darius Rucker, but the Gatlin brothers, these guys are huge in the music industry as well. How did you get involved with them?
Well, the interesting story there is I was about 16 years old. I had just ran away from home, and I was kind of making my way from literally living on the streets here in Myrtle Beach to I had my first job, and I had a little place to live. And then I found out that they were opening a big theater here, and I was a huge Larry Gatlin fan. One of my first memories of music was my mom at washing dishes and with the radio on, and their song Houston was on the radio, and I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I just went over, I put an application in and wanted to work in their theater, and I spent about 3 years listening to them perform every single night, learning so much. I would say 75% of what I know about working the crowd and really entertaining came from watching Larry Gatlin every night. And I just recently saw him. I see him every year, but I saw him about 2 weeks ago here in town. And their band was the first band to play any demos for me. I recorded my first stuff in Nashville in their studio. They really have meant so much to me. Larry has been a major supporter of mine, and his band really, more than anything, his band are just so integral into making me a believer in myself as a songwriter.
You know, I absolutely love that. I really, really do. And one day, if Barbara's really, really kind to me, you never know, we might actually do an interview with the Gatlin brothers, especially Larry. Now, at the same, oh, by the way, we have done people like, now, who have we done? Where was I going with this?
I don't know.
Brothers. Howard and
Yeah, the Bellamy brothers.
the Bellamy brothers, that's where I was going with that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We actually spoke to them a couple of years ago now, but Howard actually mentioned Larry Gatlin in the interview we did with them. So believe me, we've been very, very interested. That's where the correlation with that. Sorry, I fluffed it. Barbara's sitting there making funny faces at me again.
Blame me.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, blame you. Why not? We'll blame you. But at the same time, and believe me, this is pretty much like no other interview you'll ever do, because we actually put a bit of humour and everything into it as much as possible. But having said that, you're a bit of a comedian yourself. I've read the bio.
Oh, well, I don't know how funny I am, but I've done some comedic acting, yeah, for shows. I worked for Dolly Parton's show here in town. She has a really large, no pun intended, very large dinner theater here, and it was very, very popular, and I did the comedic acting role for her there.
Yeah, at the same time, I've got to be honest with you, I'm a little intimidated. Now, I've been a radio announcer for that many years now, but believe me, and I've been in the upper echelon, but you're quite familiar with television and radio yourself.
Right. I have done multiple, little spots on basically more reality-based shows than anything else. So when I lived in Las Vegas, they were just filming everywhere. So being an actor, you could pop in as an extra or pop in as a character on, like, for instance, for me, it was the Best Amateur Sports Show period, Jenny McCarthy show. Goodness gracious, Hart and Huntington show. There was just so many that were filming there, and I just was able to pop on it. But I really got involved in radio early on with podcasting. So it's a little different than what you guys are doing at Galaxy. You guys are really a real radio situation. For me, I was more of a guy who loved to talk about fights and figured out that I could get an audience, and I got an audience really, really quickly when it came to mixed martial arts, and it was something that put me at the forefront of that industry for many years until I basically retired from that and went back to entertainment around 2012.
Now, are you a fighter yourself? Because believe me, I'm kind of getting a little intimidated here now.
No. I'm a lover, not a fighter. I trained boxing, and I trained in jiu-jitsu. I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu under Ricardo Cavalcanti. But to me, I came to mixed martial arts from boxing. I love boxing. I love, like a guy like Kotsuzu was really great. He's an outstanding boxer. I also loved K1 fighting, which is where I fell in love with guys like Ray Sefo, Mark Hunt, who were guys from over on your part of the world. And actually, some of my friends, Michael Bisping was married. I think his girlfriend his wife is from that area. And if I'm not mistaken, there's another fighter, Ross's girlfriend, now wife. She is from that area as well. She's a UFC ring card girl also. So you guys have a lot of fighters that are from. Jamie Tahuna is a good buddy of mine, and he's from that area. There's so many really, really amazing fighters from that area, and I fell in love with the warrior spirit and the island guys out there. It's the real thing. You guys have the real thing out there. Yeah,
we do, and believe me, my friend, I know Dana White watches New Zealand fighters very, very closely for UFC, and I kind of liken him to the McMahons of the WWE, if you know what I mean. He's the UFC McMahon. He really has his finger on the pulse, and if you can get in anywhere near Dana White, wow, what a reputation you're going to have in your career, literally. Having said that, though, my friend, I was brought up as a child as a boxer. My father, we actually had a ring in our backyard. So he used to say, if you got an argument, well, you know where you're going to sort it out. And so I was brought up literally with a broken nose most of my life, if you know what I mean. I had 4 brothers, that just, well, that was fun. Yeah, it was right. Really fun. But having said that, my father was a crazy guy in his own right anyway. He, Second World War veteran that came home and ended up blowing stuff up for a living for coal mines and open cast mines and stuff like that. So we were brought up not only around explosives, but rifles and you name it. So we had an exciting childhood. Nice to have somebody else who actually has a love for the game, because believe me, I absolutely do love boxing, and every way, shape or form. Even if I'm just a spectator, just get me there. You know what I mean? I want to go and see the match, I do. It's got to be a good one.
Yeah.
Having said that though,
Absolutely.
our country's sport here is actually rugby union, and we have the best in the world with the All Blacks here in New Zealand. And across the ditch, well, they have the Wallabies, that's the Australians. We have that love-hate relationship. You know what it's like. It's like Americans and Canadians.
Right.
Ice hockey thing for you guys, rugby union for us. Not our fault that, you know, Australia can't get anything in the trophy cabinet except for dust. They haven't had anything for about 30-odd years now, maybe 35 years? 35 years, apparently.
Right.
You know, they're absolutely brilliant at the game. We want to keep them there where they're at and just keep showing them how to play the game. But at the same time, to use an old cliche, of course, rugby union is a game of two halves, if you know what I mean. So we know how to play the first half at full time, and then we go off to the pub while we're waiting for the rest of them to catch up and catch their breath. We're that good. Also, at the same time, I think the World Cup is coming up very, very shortly. So keep an eye on that and see how things are going. We have another rugby union kind of game called the Sevens here in New Zealand as well, which we tour around the world with. I got to admit, America beat us just a few weeks ago, which we absolutely thought, well, hell, that's unusual. It doesn't happen often. It's like Japan beating you know what I mean? Because we're that good at it.
That was
And of course, the coach turns around and says, well, you've got to let them win sometime, don't you? I love the attitude. So that's what we're like here in New Zealand. But having said that, my friend, and where I'm leading to is how would you like to come to New Zealand and play in front of New Zealand audiences? Would you consider the fact of doing a few shows down under here in New Zealand?
Absolutely. Let's start planning it now.
Nice, absolutely.
I'm serious. I would love, first of all, I've never been to that area. And all I see are movies and pictures of New Zealand. And New Zealand just looks so lush and green. And I'm sure it's a lot more than just what I see in photos, obviously, or movies. But I got to get over there. And the people are so genuine, so nice, so kind. I really do seriously want to do it. So this question may be just kind of a throwaway question, but I'm very serious. I would love to come over there and play music for you.
Not at all a throwaway question, and believe me, Barbara is the manager of Aurora Entertainments. She's always just saying one thing to me all the time is it comes down to sponsorship and making money to be able to get people over here, if you know what I mean. She's very, very realistic, where I'm the guy that says, listen, I want to see you in front of New Zealand audiences, and well, it's a selfish kind of thing too, because we like to be able to put New Zealand bands on New Zealand stages in front of New Zealand audiences, give them the polish of the big concert feel, if you know what I mean. But at the same time, we need to be able to bring bands into the country to be able to do that, draw cards and everything like that. So we kind of would love to be able to see, if the stats are anything to go by here at Galaxy, how you would go in front of some Kiwi audiences, because believe me, I think they would just absolutely eat you up. I really do. Also, at the same time, we do a few crazy things, as you might have figured out, between us and Australia kind of thing. We have a love-hate thing there. Yeah, you know, it's just a brotherly love thing, to be quite honest. They're just over the ditch. Closest neighbours kind of thing, you know what I mean? But we do a few crazy things here in New Zealand, and I was just wondering if you'd like to participate in some of the weirder stuff that we do. Including, now, you mentioned movies and everything like that. I'm sure you're familiar with Lord of the Rings.
Of course.
Okay, well, the Hobbiton, where they had the Littlefoots or Bigfoots or whatever they call them, the Hobbits and all of that, is only about an hour and a half away from where we are right now by car. So we'd like to take you there and show you some of the touristy things. Of course, go to Rotorua, which is based on the indigenous folks here in New Zealand. It's a tourist town. It's all based on the Maori, and We could take you to places like Hell's Gate, for instance. I got corrected the other day. I called it Devil's Gate, but that was only because I didn't want to promote the place that day. But Hell's Gate, where you can actually get right back in time, literally, for when the Maoris were here in dominance and living completely off the earth. And you can actually cook food in the hot pools and stuff like that. The water is that hot. We can actually, you put an egg in the water and you come out boiled egg. Absolutely brilliant. It's all thermal. It really is. And absolutely stunning. You just got to get past the smell because sulphur is quite a smelly thing. It really is. But at the same time, we do crazy things here. Would you be interested in taking part maybe in some wild food that we tried?
Well, possibly. I'm not the most adventurous when it comes to food. But you know what? I definitely have. I've tried a lot of things. So I'm interested to know what you would be proposing.
Okay. Have you ever heard of a hoo-hoo grub?
No. That, to me, that sounds Dr. Seuss-ish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Could kind of be, actually. It really, really could. Well, everybody's familiar, of course, of drinking tequila with the white worm in the bottle, right?
Right.
Okay, well, this is like a white worm on steroids. It's like a double-decker bus to a mini, to be honest. It's huge, it's big, it's white, has a black head. Now, instructions are this. Put the live body in your mouth, bite off the head. Don't eat the head, it's yucky, it really is. But when you crunch down on this, it's like eating creamy peanut butter.
I think that's a no.
Well, I tell you what,
I'm really wondering what that peanut butter substance is, you know what I mean?
yeah, well, I tell you what, we'll make sure that there's a mason jar or two at hand for you. How's that? We'll absolutely make sure of that. But at the same time, I'll get Barbara to send you the instructional video of this. Now, when you receive this, have a look. I'm not pulling your leg. We do this. At the same time, you've really got to look at the guy handing you the bowl and thinking, what's in this guy's mind? Really, these wiggly things in this bowl. Really? But we do it. We really do. Having said that, we'll do something maybe a little more adventurous. I don't know, Barbara. Maybe down Queenstown, down the bottom of the South Island.
Yep.
Throw them off a bridge. What do you reckon?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll throw you off a bridge.
Wait, is it anything connected to my body to bring me back up?
Absolutely. It's called bungee jumping.
Oh, let's do it. I've done it a couple of times, but I don't think it would compare anything to anything that you guys would have to offer over there. I've seen a few videos, and it looks pretty intense.
Yeah, believe me, hugely intense. It really is. I love doing it. I've got to be honest with you. I'm quite addicted. I know AJ Hackett personally. I really, really do. And he was the guy that brought this sport into New Zealand. But luckily, you're not Australian. We'll attach the bungee.
Right. So somebody, maybe the guy who has had a few of those worm things, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe a few mason jars afterwards. You know, you're fearless after that. I got to be honest with you. And at the same time, I don't mind. I don't mind doing a tandem with you if you want somebody to hold your hand. You big UFC person, you.
I think I'll be all right. I think I'll be okay alone. That might make it a little bit more. That way, if I do get a little scared, I'll keep it to myself.
Believe me, I am yet to find somebody who doesn't scream on the way down. I really am, and I'm no exception. I am absolutely no exception. But you know, it's a lot of fun, depending on whether you get wet or whether you don't. You know, we can adjust the height. You know. Sometimes you get your hair wet, sometimes you get half your body wet, other times you only just look at the water, you know what I mean? So we can have some fun with you.
Right.
Or we could attach a chair and make you bungee jump on a chair. You know, there's a huge swing that we have now, a brand new one, which swings you out over this canyon, and believe me, absolutely frightening. Love it, love it, love it. Really do.
Sounds like you guys have like a laundry list of cool things that we could do. Like I'm totally in.
All right, I'm there with you. And
So
if you want to do something like that, well, you know, I'm an avid parachutist as well. I like skydiving, so I'm a member of a club in the Bay of Plenty here, so we could always step out of a perfectly good aeroplane as well.
Why not? I've only done that once, and it was the second time that I was in an airplane. So I haven't done that in about 20 years, so I'm kind of due. I'm due for another jump.
There you go. There you go. We will do that as well. But having said that, we can all, also take you to Auckland and take you out on the harbour there and have a meal and a wine and just take in the ambience of an evening on the harbour in Auckland, which is our biggest city here in New Zealand. And believe me, it is absolutely superb. It's spectacular. You've got to take part in this. You really, really do. And we may take you past the America's Cup boats that we have up there as well. So you never know. You might get an insight on the next boat that we're going to be racing.
That would be great, man. I got to tell you, it would be a dream come true to come over, play some music, and see your country. New Zealand, like I said, it's on my list, and I only have 2 more places on my list, and it's you and your neighbor. So I'd really like to get over there.
Very politically correct. I love that. I really do. Yeah, look, we would love to have you down here in the Antipodes, land of the long white cloud, and have you play maybe about 4 shows here in New Zealand. I think that would suit very, very nicely, and maybe about a half a dozen over in Australia. The only reason we would share you with Australia is literally not that we think they deserve it. It's more the fact that I think we deserve their money. What do you reckon?
Exactly.
It would...
Yeah, I love the little bit of ribbing between the two of you guys. It's like almost like a rival in a sport. You know what I mean? But it's life.
Yeah, exactly. It really, really is. It's not our fault they were colonialised by prisoners. We were colonialised by captains. Captain Cook founded us on behalf of the Empire of Britain, whereas Britain just sent all the criminals to Australia. Not our fault. They just haven't learnt yet. They haven't. Now, let's get back to the serious stuff and tell me about Sweet Tea. Now, believe me, I absolutely love this track.
Thank you very much. Sweet Tea is a song that I have been wanting to record for over 20 years. And back in 1999, back in the 1900s, back in 1999, I had a deal with Warner Brothers Nashville and in a band called October, and we were going through songs to pitch for the record. And this is an old song. This is a song by a South Carolina band called Craven Melon. And Craven Melon was at around the same time that Hootie and the Blowfish came out. So when Hootie and the Blowfish blew up, they were big, and then all of a sudden South Carolina, because that sound of Hootie, that's the South Carolina sound. That's really that's just who we are. It's what we sound like. And Craven Melon was like that as well. So Edwin McCain, Hootie the Blowfish, Craven Melon, Treadmill Track Star, a lot of bands got signed up at that point in time. And Craven Melon came out with the song Sweet Tea. And I loved it. And it just wasn't a hit. It wasn't big and popular like it should have been. It was 20, 30 years before its time. So I recorded the song on my own, and I think it was about a year and a half ago, and I was at Darius Rucker's house. We were rewriting Get Over You, and he was letting me hear some of his new record at the time. And I said, hey, I want to play you this song. And as soon as the first guitar lick started, he just started smiling, and he goes, I thought about recording this song. And I go, really? He said, yeah. He said, this is a hit, man. This is a hit record. And he just enjoyed it. And to me, that was as nice as a feeling as I thought I could get, until the day that I let the guys from Craven Melon hear my version of it. And we were sitting at a bar, outside of a bar. They took my phone, and they were listening, and it's 2 guys, and the guys that wrote it, and they're listening to it, and I'm so nervous. I'm like, oh man, are they gonna like it? Are they not gonna like it? What's going on? And they were like, it's good. Good job.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was nerve-wracking. Oh man, But listen, I want to thank you for playing this music. In America, they won't. It's hard to find people to play music like this. Period. But as someone that's up and coming, or just doing what I'm doing, treading water or whatever it is I'm doing. But Galaxy 107 is an outlet that is so cool, and for you to play these songs for these people that are listening right now and expose them to a song like Sweet Tea, to me, it really is an honor, man. And I'm glad you like this song, and I'm really thrilled that you're going to play it on your station. Thank you.
You know, Gary, you've just made a huge hit. I've heard all the staff going up and cheering out in the other room, which is really, really hard to do, to be honest. So huge hit there. Huge hit here. I've just been told 4,075 requests since we've been playing as a Sweet Tea. We're going up in the rankings right now. So it is getting a lot of airplay, a lot of recognition. It really, really is. And as we've said to you at the start of the interview, my friend, we only play the good music and the good stuff here at Galaxy 107. So without further ado, here is Gary Alexander and Sweet Tea.
I'll put some of these songs up when I do
Yeah.
my YouTube thing and everything for everybody.
Absolutely. How are you feeling there, Gary?
It never gets old hearing a good intro and hearing the song kick off. You know what I mean? It never gets old.
Well, I thank you for the good intro.
No. That wasn't me, my friend. That was you. Thank you very much for that. And I'm genuinely appreciative that you guys are taking the time out of your day to talk to me. Thank you.
Oh, look, it's our pleasure, my friend. It really, really is. I can't stress to you enough that we only play good music. And I've got to let you know that we're innovators of this. There's no other radio station that actually does Skype interviews and no ads and everything like that in between, if you know what I mean. I think if we put ads into this, it would break up the whole momentum of what we're trying to achieve,
right.
which is get Gary Alexander out to the world. And I think that's where a lot of our followers come in, is that we're not hounding them all the time with adverts and stuff like this. We try to bring them, and we love indie artists, but again, only good indie artists. We don't do garage bands or anything like that, but we do an artist on the merits of the music and the quality of the music. You know what I'm saying?
And thank you for sending it to me, Gary.
Yeah, and believe me, thank you for sending it to us.
Oh, I was kind of blindly doing it, and I was like, I don't even know if they'll hit me back or whatever, but I'm gonna do it. So I sent it out, and I got such a welcoming response, and I really appreciate it. Like I'm serious about it. It's hard to get in America, especially. It's hard to get attention from anyone, and hard to get it paid attention to,
Believe me, I know exactly what you're saying there, my friend. 5,605,000 online right now, so it's a nice morning. It's a very nice morning. Having said that, folks, go and check out Gary Alexander on all your medias. Believe me, you can't go wrong there, folks. You really can't. And I'm going to ask Gary some very, very personal questions about his music very, very shortly. Like, will he give some away?
And
We
Gary,
might be able to get a competition going.
thank you for sending the music to me. I do respond to every person that leaves messages.
Absolutely. You
You'll-
see,
you'll-
Gary came through the Galaxy page on Facebook, and it works. It does work. Come here. Okay. All right. My boss, Gary, just popped in to have a look.
Hawaii.
That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM. It is 6 away from 12 o'clock, 29 degrees, 0.7. Let's call it 30 degrees now. I told you we were going to go higher than 27 degrees. That's Celsius, by the way, not Fahrenheit for everybody over the other side. They'll be sitting there going, that's cold. That's really cold. 30 degrees is cold. Believe me, it is absolutely boiling here in New Zealand. We're in the middle of a heat wave, would you believe? And right now, absolutely melting, I've got to be honest with you. Tuesday, February the 12th, and I'm absolutely elated to be in Myrtle Beach right now with Gary Alexander and, of course, Sweet Tea. We just played there. Gary, I've got to ask you, have you got any CDs and any merchandise maybe you might be able to pass down the line to us? We would love to be able to do a giveaway and keep Gary Alexander rolling here at Galaxy. Would you consider something like that?
You know what? I am just starting to put together some artwork for a new CD, and also thinking about some T-shirt ideas. It's one of those things to where that I haven't had a lot of success moving merch, so I haven't really put much thought into that recently. But I tell you what, whenever I do make it happen, I'll make sure that you guys get some for giveaways without a shadow of a doubt.
Nice, absolutely brilliant, because believe me, I know a lot of fans would be very, very happy to pick up a CD, maybe a T-shirt, maybe a cap, something like that. At the same time, I do wear, and I think it's Jodie Medford I'm wearing today. I don't know. Have you met Jodie Medford, my friend? Believe me, I think arguably the deepest country voice in country music, coming out of the Carolinas as well.
Oh, no.
Oh, you've got to meet this
Really?
guy. Absolutely
He's
brilliant.
from
He
North
really,
Carolina.
really is. I'll get Barbara to send you some information and some of his music. You will love it. You really, really will. South Carolina?
North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's it. And North Carolina. But believe me, absolutely brilliant artist in his own right. But what I'm getting at here is I'm wearing one of his T-shirts. Now, subliminally, while I'm doing the interviews, we get a few close-up shots of what I'm wearing, and people go and have a look on the internet to see who these people are, and what do you know? Before you know it, it could equate into sales across the border. Really, really could. Having said that, though, after we do this interview, we're going to do a couple of more things before we let you go, and I'm sorry for chewing up so much of your time, but believe me, you will absolutely love what we're going to do with that, because we'll do a little video and we'll put that on our website. And believe me, it's basically a shout out. People go on our website, they live stream us, but they don't just do that. They get nosy and have a look through our pages. I feel one of the most oogled guys in the world, I gotta be honest with you. But they look at all the shout outs and then go and do a bit of history, and before you know it again, people are not only finding themselves with new Facebook friends, but they're finding themselves that product is being moved, if you can relate to that. So we'll do that for you as well. It's all part of the package of promoting Gary Alexander here at Galaxy 107 FM. When we do these interviews, we get right behind the artist, because we believe in the artist. We really do. We believe in the music, and we absolutely love your style and everything you produce at this time, and always looking for new stuff. Now, having said that, let's move into your most requested song before we break a brand spanking new song for you, and that is Poster Child. Now this, wow, 5,753 requests to date for this particular track since we've been playing it. You are absolutely killing it right now here at Galaxy. Tell me all about Poster Child.
Poster Child is another song that I sat on for about 10 years, that was written by Charles English. Charles English is the guitar player on the backside of the Alabama group, the group Alabama. He's not the one of the founding members, but he's in the band. And Charles is a great producer and a great songwriter. And he had this song, Poster Child, that I was working on a duo for one.
Yeah, we're still here. We're intentionally listening.
Good. Okay. So I was working on a duo with Warner Brothers with this guy, and Poster Child was one of the songs that came through, and we never did anything with it. I sat on it, And this is just like Burn That Bridge. I told Charles, this song is like the story of my life. I left home when I was 16. You know, I only had a couple of dollars in a bag full of clothes, you know, and a guitar, and it really is like it. It's like I wrote it. It's about my life. And how could somebody else? It's like he was sitting over the top of my shoulder watching me the entire time that I was living my life, and he wrote this song about it. And to me, the video, I love the video because the video says everything about my performances. The video says everything about the song, the style. Poster child for the young and wild. It really has been where I've been in my life, and this song documents it so well.
Well, having said that, my friend, I can't wait to play it one more time here at Galaxy today, would you believe? I've played it a couple of times already, but believe me, I'm looking forward to playing it again. Here is Gary Alexander and Poster Child.
Yeah, we play this one a lot.
Gosh, I'm melting, Belle. I'm melting.
Yes.
So, we have one more to go, which is now the release of your new song, and looking forward to doing that with you as well. I genuinely meant it when I said to you, if you've got any new work, please pass it on to us. We'd love to be able to release it. And at the same time, we'll do another Skype interview and talk about that particular track as well. So we'll keep everything rolling as much as possible for you.
That would be great.
I've got to be honest with you, it's not easy getting to this, but once we get behind you, we absolutely get behind our artists in every direction. We really, really do. And I'm working with a TV company at the moment coming out of Jacksonville, Florida, Frank Luma, and he's always saying to me, Grant, how would you like to pass some music on to us and stuff like that? So we're going to start looking at doing a special little something that way as well that might be able to help indie artists like yourself as well. So,
very cool.
Things
Jacksonville is where that part of Florida is where some of my favorite songwriters come from. Leonard Skinner is from Jacksonville, and there's no bigger group or no better songwriter to me than Ronnie Van Zant. So that's a huge thing.
Absolutely, and huge fan of both. I got to be honest, I'm a huge fan of both. And we have a huge following in Jacksonville, Florida. We really, really do, especially for the Latino Late Show that Frank Luma is on. Him and I are just the boys, literally. We get up to a lot of a lot of humour. In fact, I think we're talking to an equestrian.
Yeah, we are, very soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bit of a comedy show.
Poor lady's not going to know what's hit her. She really isn't.
It's all in having fun.
It is all about having fun and being informative, being professional at the same time. Well, maybe not.
No, not with the posters that he makes of us. No.
Anyway, let's go back to the desk where you
Awesome
have
song, by the way.
Looking Like a Love Song, which is a brand spanking new song. Looking forward to releasing this. That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM, 3 away from 12 o'clock, 30 degrees downtown, absolutely stifling up here in the office at Komodo, and absolutely elated to be joined by the man himself, Gary Alexander, coming out of Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. And believe me, my friend, you are absolutely killing with Poster Child. You really, really are. Now, we mentioned earlier on about any new work that may be coming up, but before we go to that, just got to wonder, it's just starting to look like you're going to start coming out the other end of winter. Have you got any festivals or anything booked in for the summer period?
We're just starting to book out the 2019 season. I'm playing. There's a festival here. It's the Wahoo's Country Fest that comes up at the end of March. So I'll be on that bill with a guy named Josh Brandon. He's somebody that you guys should be checking out as well. Josh Brandon is a good guy. He's from this area, and there's some other artists that have been on. I think there's a guy on there. I don't remember his name, I wish I did, but he was on The Voice or one of those kind of things, and one of those TV shows that we have over here in the States is doing so well, and of course I'm always playing, opening for bands at the Boathouse here in the area. The Boathouse is a really big concert showroom here, and all the greats come through, man. All the country artists that are up and coming have all played there. So I've been lucky enough to play on that stage many times with a lot of great artists that were actually represented even at the Grammys last night. Guys like Luke Combs,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So that's really where we're at right now. We're booking up that 2019 season. So if anybody out there wants to get in touch with me, make sure you hit me up and let's get some dates going. Regardless of what town it is, what city it is, what country it is, let's make it happen. I'm ready to play and meet some really cool people.
Absolutely stunning. Now, I tell you what, we were discussing about getting you down here, down under, and playing for New Zealand audiences. We were absolutely, I was just told in my ear, could I consider doing a festival here in New Zealand? Because believe me, we do those as well. And we're looking at bringing people like Rod Black, for instance, Hillbilly Vegas, Creed Fisher, and maybe even Dwayne Watson, and maybe yourself. Make it a real package for a real weekend, if you know what I mean. And intermingling. Well, we might even throw in the occasional Australian. Maybe Brooke might want to come along. Brooke Chevelle, an absolutely stunning artist in his own right, and I think worthy of the cause, to be very honest with you. So maybe we could talk to Bristol Records, for instance, who have a big play in the Canadian artists that we're bringing here to New Zealand. But I've got to be honest with you, Brian Perry, for instance, the CEO of Bristol Records, lives in Nashville. And maybe we can have a chat to him, see if we can pass a few bits and pieces on. You never know. Are you signed? You're still an indie artist, aren't you? You haven't been signed yet, have you?
No, I'm currently under no publishing contract. I'm currently under no recording contract in any country and any region at all. So no, everything is coming out of my pocket. Everything is coming out of my vision. Everything is me. So this is everything that you get. It isn't backed by Budweiser or Coors or any of those fancy names or any of those fancy record labels. This is all Gary Alexander all day.
Nice. Well, I tell you what, we're going to be passing this on to Brian anyway. You never know. If you get a phone call from Muhammad that's coming down from the mountain, don't hang up. Believe me, don't do that, please. Because, believe me, very, very intelligent man is Brian, and the man to know around Nashville, I've heard, and in Canada. You can't go anywhere in Canada without knowing about Bristol Records. So we may be able to do an intermediary thing where we can get half a dozen American bands and half a dozen Canadian bands, get them down here in the Antipodes, and have them sing for the supper.
Yeah, I tell you what, Canada interests me a lot because Canadians are very interested in listening rooms. They want to sit down and they want to listen to music, and it's not always about labels and genres. They are open to hearing, Tragically Hip on one side, and then on the flip side, they'll listen to Steve Earle, and they'll listen to Americana acts, as well as popular country acts and pop acts. I wish my home was more like that, but luckily I've got people like you that are taking care of me and shuffling me in on those other audiences as well. So thank you.
Well, it is absolutely our pleasure. Now, I got to say to you, I see that you performed in San Antonio, for instance, a town that I'm very familiar with. I have a lot of friends coming out of that place. Are you looking at going back anytime soon? Can I tell my friends to check you out?
I do not have any dates in San Antonio, or Texas for that matter, but trust me when I tell you, I miss it. I'd love to get back, and I'd love to play some music for Texans. Texas, I don't know if you're familiar with Texas music that much. It's a whole different ball game. It's country, but it's Texas country. It's different. Guys like Jack Ingram, Radney Foster, the Radney Rogers Band, all of these types of bands, Pat Green, for example, not just the hardcore country side of it, but there's a whole different subculture of Texas country music that I am just infatuated with and I love. And meeting Jack Ingram and talking to Jack Ingram about writing songs and him being willing to write with me, which hopefully that still happens, man, that was no offense to Keith Urban. I did meet Keith Urban in Vegas, and we chatted for a minute about Texas music, by the way. But it was really cool. It was a big deal for me to meet Jack Ingram, and because I'm a big fan of Keith as well. But that Texas sound is amazing to me. I love San Antonio.
I gotta give you Creed Fisher then, and believe me, arguably, I had an interview with him just a couple of days ago. I got to be quite honest with you, I was completely down under the weather. I'd been suffering quite a severe flu, and I don't think that Creed thought I was as funny as I thought I was, to be honest. But I am absolutely in awe of this man's music. He is an absolute genius. And I see you along the same pedestal, if you know what I mean. I've got you right up there with this man's talent. Maybe we should get you two to start talking to each other. Believe me, there's a lot of similarity. And this guy is an absolute stunner when he performs live. I've seen a couple of his shows. And he does a lot of Facebook funny stuff as well. And believe me, that man could drink me under the table any day. He sits there, woo! That man can drink, let's put it that way. You know, I'm in awe of that as well. But I'll get Barbara to pass on Creed Fisher's details to you, because believe me, you never know. You never know where the future holds. And that is an absolutely stunning show if we got both of you together on stage doing something somewhere, somehow, you know what I mean? So believe me,
let's do it.
I would love to be able to recommend you to him, and vice versa. I'm sure Barbara will get onto that for us pretty much straight away.
Don't forget about Steve Baker.
Don't forget about Steve Baker. Let's not forget about Steve Baker. Another absolute genius coming out of Nashville. What he does is he's got a video company, and he's got his finger on the pulse where he puts people's videos in places like the Hard Rock Cafes, the Floating Palaces, the malls, you name it. He really gets behind promotions of that. So if you would like for us to be able to pass your details on to Steve Baker, and Visual Image Marketing is his company. Thank you very much. Not that I didn't have it off the top of my head, I just got told. But believe me, we will pass this information on to you. Whatever happens, happens. You know what I mean? We get nothing out of it.
Of course.
We get not a thing out of it, but what we get is the gratification of knowing that there's artists out there that we've recommended to our friends that are making it in the world just that little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm open to talking to anyone that you've mentioned. I'm also open to talking to any listeners that are out there that like my music. You know, follow me on social media. Follow me on Facebook, and Instagram and Facebook is where I'm a little more active. So those are really the spots to find me. Twitter is great, and Snapchat is fine, but I'm Gary Alexander on Instagram is where you'll find me the most. And Facebook, let's build up my Facebook page. I need more likes on that Facebook page. I'm just starting to be active with that. I've reached the limit with my other page. I'm at 5,000, so I need to join up on that other side of it. And I really appreciate you bringing not only the Kiwis to the table, but also the international audience that you have. Thanks for doing that for me, and I look forward to talking to some of the listeners that are listening now.
Nice, absolutely brilliant. And yes, Gary, 63 countries we're being received in at the moment. I've just been told we're doing 63. Philippines have only just woken up by the feel of it. But it is always nice to be able to...
So are you counting, are you actually counting Australia?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we are.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. We kind of like to be able to keep them included, you know. Otherwise, if we didn't include them, I wouldn't be able to give them as much stick as I could, to be quite honest with you. It wouldn't feel the same, you know. We've got to have somebody over there taking offence. Otherwise, it's not worth it.
So it's like 62 countries and Australia.
And Australia, yeah. Absolutely. What the Australians don't like is that our scientists have only just found out that Tasmania, that little island at the bottom of Australia, is actually connected to our continental shelf. We own it. It's connected to us. We want back taxes from when they started taxing those people. I reckon they should be ours. And I'll tell you something else, which I think you'll find funny. I'm sure you have a thing over there called April Fool's Day, the 1st of April.
Yes.
Okay. This last year, the last April Fool that we had, I ended up ringing up the head office of the Navy, asking them if they could assist me tow Tasmania back to New Zealand. They love the idea. They love the idea, but I tell you what, I got a bit of flack from Australia for even mentioning that. You know, not my fault. We like the little devils,
Very funny.
and we like those animals in Tasmania as well.
Tasmanian devils.
But having said that, let's get down to the absolutely pinnacle of our morning here, Gary. And believe me, I'm very, very excited about this. World first. Here at Galaxy 107 FM, tell me about Looking Like a Love Story.
This song, Like a Love Song, is such a really unique song to me. I took the song to Nashville with me on my last ride, which was in September, and I only had the chorus. I met with the guy that I was riding with, this guy named Marcus Kaiser, and Marcus was the singer for a band called Old Southern Moonshine Revival, and they were a tremendous band, but they had since disbanded, and he's just writing and producing, and we sat down in his living room, and we had planned on writing a couple other songs, but I said, hey, I got this song, and I said, you know, I'm supposed to be writing for this certain artist record, and I got this chorus. And he was like, ooh, let's write that one. That's a great chorus. Let's write that. And then he immediately started with the verses, and his pattern of phrasing was a little different than mine, which is really cool. And that's what happens sometimes whenever you get those co-writers together. And it just started flowing. And then he was getting up and he was on the phone. He took a couple phone calls in the middle of the write. And I was like, what's he doing? But I just sat down at my computer and I kept writing. He would come back in, and the first verse was done, the second half of the first verse, and then he would go back out for another call. The second verse was done. We did the bridge, and the next thing you know, we had this awesome song. I took it to Mike Rogers in Nashville. He produced a killer track, and we had a friend of mine from out of Indiana, that John Mellencamp sound. He played guitar on it. My friend Bobby played guitar on it, and it turned into what I think is one of my favorite songs that I've done yet. I think it's a great song. Like a Love Song to me. I don't know. It's just to me, it's something special.
You know, well, I've told you, and we haven't actually had it for a great period of time, so we haven't played it as a feature song or anything like that, but we have played it a couple of times just to test the water. It's like putting the toe in the water, you know what I mean. We threw it out there, and we had quite a response by people saying, that's a great song. Who is it, and what's the name of the song? We couldn't released that. We couldn't give them any information until now, to be very honest with you. Otherwise Barbara would have shot me, to be honest with you. But Barbara also knows that I'm one of these guys that don't hold back. I will get it out there as quickly as possible just to see what the general take of this was. And believe me, in the, I think 2 days that we've had it, about 2 days we've had this, we've played it a couple of times now and got about 400 queries on this particular song. So for everybody that will now recognise this song, this is Gary Alexander and Looking Like a Love Song here at Galaxy.
Hi Scott, hi Ruben, hi Chris, hi Philly D, hi Ron Vincent, hi Sam Rawlings, Debbie, Moon Jostin, Tina, Peter Hearn, Warren Marshall, Cheryl, hi Robert, Ian, Bill Roberts, Slav, Aaron, Terry and Grace, Mike Gill, Billy Frew, Jarrett, Sarah. Woo.
Wow.
A lot of people watching us today.
There is a lot of people watching right now.
All
That's
watching
huge.
Gary
Oh,
Alexander.
it's so awesome.
Yeah.
So awesome.
All watching Gary Alexander.
Yeah, absolutely. And
this
there's some
interview.
very...
It's so cool. I gotta tell you, this is a local radio station debuted this song recently here. I think it was last week. But it's so cool to know that this is going to such a different demographic. It's really is flattering. It really is cool. And I want to thank you for playing it.
You have an appreciative audience here, my friend. And as I said to you before, I don't listen to music as a fan would listen to music. I listen to it as an engineer would listen to it. And if you've won me over, my God, that's half the battle won. It really
he's a
is.
hard man,
So
this
all I
one.
can say to you, my friend, is please keep the good stuff coming, brother man. We would love to be able to do this again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would love to do it again. I think I may have my next single figured out. We're gonna see. I have it narrowed down to about 4 songs. So we'll see. I'm not really doing EPs or LPs anymore. I'm really sticking to the model of doing singles and then doing videos. So I'm doing a single and I'm doing a video for it. So we're about to film the video for the song Like a Love Song, and I think it's going to be really cool. I'm bringing the band in there, and we're going to get them on camera for once. And I'm excited. I'm really excited about this song. I think it's just a cool song.
Nice. And please pass the video on to us. We would love to be able to throw it up on our website as well, if you don't mind. That way we can try and at least get it out there a little bit more. Pass everything on to Barbara. Don't pass it on to me. I don't even have a phone.
No, he doesn't have a phone.
Anyway, let's go back to the deal.
He hasn't had one for 18 months, I think.
Something like that. It's been a while now.
Wow, it's gone up to 30.1.
I knew I was going to do that sooner or later. Forgot to press the button. How's that? You know, I'm so caught up in the music. Looking Like a Love Song. Absolutely loving that track. And I can see it's going to have a lot of longevity here at Galaxy. I can see that coming a mile away. Now, at the same time, my friend, way back in the day when you bought your $12 guitar, I'm sure that you didn't expect that you'd be talking to people down here, down under, and where it's left. I absolutely love your voice. I hope that you don't fix what ain't broken, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. No, it was always my goal to play for audiences around the world and play for millions of people, and I've been fortunate to achieve all of those goals. But I know that without people like you guys taking care of the your part of it, it wouldn't be happening. You know what I mean? So I'm genuinely appreciative to have partners like Galaxy107 and
You're breaking up there. Just I can see you're breaking up very, very briefly there. So, are we back? Are you still with me, my friend? Yeah, maybe we should try and do that again. But I tell you what, we'll just very, very briefly play a song. Here's Shakespeare's Sister.
I'll have to
I don't
finish
care.
this.